Hi, I'm doing a video here, and it's going to be a take on something I started a few days ago, continuation of the subject. And today we're doing it a little differently, and I'll show you what I mean here. I'm going to flip the camera around, and it's going to be a little hard on the screen to see this, but this is the patio in the back. There are some tomato plants here, and as I look at them, I see that the leaves are a little wilted, so I'm going to just throw some water on them. And there we go. And that's about what they'll get for today, this plant. I'll get the rest in a little bit here, but I'm going to go out the gate and go for a little walk here. All right, and so this is where we live, backyard, and a little bit of grass, kind of nice on either direction. Make you want to get your golf club out, but it's not really a fairway. So anyway, I'm headed over to this. I'd maybe call it a ditch, and I got to be careful when I get over here because it's got a real steep drop off. In fact, it's more than a drop off, it's undercut. I don't know how much, so I don't ever get out right on the very edge. Down in the bottom, you can see the water running, and kind of nice. This is probably the steepest and highest above the highest elevation above the water that we'll get. But anyway, so that's where we live, and the backyard. And there's the view of the patio from outside the little wall. Okay, so now I'm walking, and you say, what's all this about? Well, just a time of getting out and taking a few steps here is an experience, and life is full of those. I'll just kind of point the camera in different directions, and you can see maybe a wilderness on the left side and a housing development on the right. And I look at the houses. They're pretty nice. We live in a community, and like I said, they're nice houses. And the point of what I'm doing here, though, is that as we are taking this little walk, we're observing things, and I've been kind of spelling them out, talking it through just a little bit. Nothing real, you might call exciting or whatever happening, but nonetheless, we observe and see things that are taking place, even if it's as simple as water running down the bottom of a creek. But as we observe those things, we can make some conclusions. As we looked over the bank a minute ago, and that's the creek over there. See, it's not near as steep, or not near as much of a drop off. But we can make conclusions that the water is coming from the left side and moving to the right. So that tells me the elevation is higher on the left than it is on the right side. Okay, well, that's nothing real profound, but it's something that we observe and we learn something from. So if I want to go to the mountains, I head to the left. If I want to head down to the bigger river where this all ends up at, and eventually, of course, into the ocean, I go to the right side, follow that. And so I learned that. It's, again, not a big thing. But you can see they're building houses. All of these are pretty new. Within the last 3 years, they're just finishing up this street with these last two. But if you looked at that house and a row of houses, you might learn something too. Or at least you think you would. You see that they're new. They're nice. They've got nice patios, all of them. Nice driveways, places to park your car. They all have garages, most of them 2-car garages. And so you might make assumptions about maybe even the people that live in them. So far we haven't seen any people, just houses. And we may or may not see more than that. But we're constantly observing things. And it doesn't matter whether you're here in Fruita with your observations or whether you're somewhere else. No matter what you're doing, your mind is picking up things. And there's another little steep drop off down into the creek. And we can hear the water run. Just stop a second. I don't know how the camera picks up on the sound, but I can hear the sound of the creek and the water running. And I don't really think about that, but it has an effect on me. The sound of the water affects my spirit. I feel the wind in my face, and you probably hear that in the camera. And so, again, we're receiving information all the time as we take our little walk. And I see that house over there has an American flag. That tells me something about the people that live there. Now, I don't know if it's still there, but a house behind me there had another sign in it. And I'm not going to say what it was, but it kind of had a feeling in me that was much different than seeing this flag flying here. So what would you think about the people that live in that house? I would say they're proud to be Americans. They're proud to live in this country. They probably would say they love this country. And so, again, we make that assumption. Question is that assumption true? I'd say there's a good chance that it is, but it's not necessarily absolutely true. But this is just an illustration of what happens when we live our lives. We're looking at things constantly. And there's a tree that's green straight ahead that we're coming to. But there's a tree over there that's turning pretty yellow. And we can see some of the leaves already lying there in the grass. And a little butterfly floating around. Decided why am I saying that? Because all of these are observances that have effects on us. They may say different things to us. The trees and the leaves that are falling, I see that one just hit the ground, telling me that summer is about over. Now, when I think of summer being over, that can bring some emotions to me, and they can be varied emotions depending on what what things in life are important. But there could be a certain sense of sadness in that the lives of these plants are being, I'll just say, withdrawn. Doesn't mean the plant is dead, but it's going into a stage of dormancy. Yeah, and we have to know we also go through those in our lives. There's different seasons that take place. And it's really important to realize that as every day has its uniqueness, so every season in our life has its uniqueness. And obviously you can tell this is not a script. My script is what I see. I'm talking about what I'm observing. And we do this continually as we live our lives. We may not be quite as conscious of it as I am trying to be here, because I'm making a point. And the point really is this: some things we see and are conscious of, and we learn consciously. Some things we see and we're not really so much conscious of them. There's a little bit of a view there with the water running down and the sun kind of making the ripples glisten. And again, that brings an emotion. Most of that's good. I'm kind of enjoying this walk. But you can see it's affecting me, even as it may be affecting you. It probably not as much as it does me, because I'm here live and in person. But you are just getting it via the benefit of the video. Now that's kind of interesting. I see that little eddy there where the water's all moving down the creek, but in that one spot it just seems like it's standing still. Probably isn't, but now I'm thinking about this a little bit. I'm trying to figure out what causes that to happen. Obviously it's whatever's underneath the water on the bottom of the creek is making that do that. But I wonder, is the water really going through? Is it actually stopped like it is, or whatever? Again, it's all about our observations and the learning process that's taking place because of them. So, the point being, no matter what we're going through, no matter what we're doing, we're always learning. And some things we learn are pleasant. Some things we learn are sad, obviously unpleasant. But taking a step farther, some things are true and some things are not true. Now, we looked at that little thing back there with the water. You could see that there's an appearance that the water in that little circle had stopped moving, just while all the rest of the water's going downstream. That particular place, it was just sitting there. And so we have to, you can tell I'm not in shape, but anyway, so whether something's true or not, or what the reality is, we have to make conclusions. And our conclusions, again, can be correct or incorrect. Now that was a little bit of an unpleasant sound. I hear the dog barking at me. So the first thing I do is observe something. I want to see, is he on a chain? Is he behind a fence? Am I in danger? And so I see that he's in a fenced-in yard, so I'm a little bit at ease with that. But still, that barking can be disconcerting. Okay, so again, I'm using a lot of observations here because that's just the nature of what we're doing, and talking through what my experience is in this walk. But it really does have to do with life. Just a kind of a unique little area with the tall grass and sun shining on the blades and all of that. Okay, I know that this is where the steepest part of my walk is. I should probably turn this off so that I can do it without huffing and puffing too much. But I ask this question: as you live your life and go through things, you make conclusions about a lot of things. Some of those are conscious, and some of those are in the subconscious that we don't really think in terms. And you say, what's the difference between those two? Consciousness, I think, and the best I've been able to figure out, is defined by the words that we either speak or think. So consciousness is word oriented. Now, obviously, I've talked a lot on our little path down through there, but normally I wouldn't have done that. I would have just walked and saw all that we saw, and my mind consciously would not have. I'm out of breath. My conscious mind would not have been bringing out the details. But I knew that in order to get you to understand the point, I would have to talk about what I was seeing, feeling, hearing, experiencing, and to show to you that your subconscious is picking that up 24 hours a day, always happening. And so now I'm hearing music. I'm looking around. Where's it coming from? Is somebody behind me? Are they going to get in on this conversation? Or was it one of those vehicles? I think it might have been a vehicle. Anyway, again, that little distraction would never have been mentioned if I was just out here for a walk without this camera recording it all. And so, what does that have to do with anything? I don't know how long we've been going here. About almost 19 minutes. So maybe I can try to summarize this and save my breath for the rest of the walk home. But again, you're seeing houses now. Kind of a nice area. And in a few days, or a week or so anyway, all of this will be changed from green to reds and yellows and golds and rusts. And if I were to let you look down that street, all of those trees would be putting on a wonderful display that we don't see right now. And again, I know I've overemphasized all of this, but I can't take but a few steps without realizing what an effect a short walk can have on me as a person. Now, think about your life. Think about all the experiences. And every day I've taken 20 minutes to do this. And I've talked the whole time through, almost constantly describing what was happening to me as I walked through here. What effect does your life have on the person that you are? What things do you look at and really think through? And what things do you look at and only experience in the subconscious level? And I'll say this, the subconscious is more tied to the, oh, it's a band over there in the park. Okay, that's where the music is coming from. So your subconscious is absorbing all of this without you really thinking about it. And let's go to just who you are. And I really want to wrap this up. I know it's getting a little bit long. Absorbing all of these things that we don't really put into words. And what we conclude is based on our experience. And we're going to take up from there on our next little visit. Probably won't be walking because I can't do this and talk at the same time. But we hope that just a little bit of this is going to help you to see how life affects us. Thank you.